players. You can unlock some more. There's co-op. It has an all-analog synth-punk soundtrack. Let's see. There's a lot of weapons, a lot of buffs, a lot of action.
So by buffs, is that just for your weapon buffs, or is there like health buffs as well?
No, so there's you basically consume curses and drugs and buffs, and they usually give you something really, really powerful, like maybe a new ability, or they'll give you some kind of interesting side effect. But a lot of them, especially the curses and the drugs, they have really strong downsides. So they might say, like, now you can carry a third weapon, but if you run out of ammo, now your weapons break.
Okay. So
yeah.
it's like a really good bonus to have to like reflect the bad with it.
Yeah, so instead of making the game harder as the player goes along, we kind of make it more sophisticated, and it's up to them to really master the content and to combine good synergies and avoid bad synergies.
When you say curses, because I know what drugs are,
Yeah.
but curses, what's a curse?
There's kind of this underlying occult theme in the game. The tower itself is actually alive. It's called Skymelt. So you're going in there to ostensibly destroy the tower and kill the architect of the tower. But it turns out as you play that you learn things are not always what they seem, and Skymelt itself is really in more control than you had originally known. So you can interact with a lot of stuff that's cursed, and as you do it, you'll get more cursed enemies that appear, and they're much harder. They're kind of elite versions. But cursed items and cursed buffs tend to be really powerful.
All right.
What we just saw there was a teleporter where you could go into any room for that zone.
Yeah. So since it's a procedural world and you only have 18 minutes to live.
That's something important to remember, procedurally generated.
Yeah, it's random. It's really unique every time you play it. So we make sure that you're not penalized for like, hey, I want to go back and talk to that shopkeeper, or I gotta get some drugs right into my neck. Just so that you're not penalized for, and that you have options before you go run into the boss and die.
Dude, I mean, it looks fantastic. It looks like an 80s wet dream. It really does. I just want to mention one of the first things. I went to the website and I looked at just getting information. The first thing on the website, it says guns, guns, guns. And then you scroll down a little bit and it says synth punk as fuck. And that's like the description of the game on the actual website.
I'd say that's accurate. I stand by that assertion.
Okay, so guns, guns, guns. What do you mean guns, guns, guns?
So
is there lots of guns, guns?
There are. The build that we're showing at E3 has 70 really unique weapons. And some of them are really complex. There's a lot of kind of interactions. There's the idea that there's gas in the world that's sometimes explosive, but if you combine it with something hot, it'll explode.
Is that the gas that we're looking at right now?
No, that's just cool smoke.
Okay, cool.
But
it is very cool.
So you might have a weapon like the vapor smelter that is hot. It's like this massive beam of hatred or power, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
But actually emits this explosive gas near you. So if you actually use it on an enemy too close to you, it'll detonate the gas that it emits and it'll kill you. Because explosions are really deadly to players in the game.
Now, how do you do you just find them throughout the playing of the game? Like when you play it over and over again, do you unlock stuff, or can you find everything in one go?
Great question. So you start out when you install the game. It's beatable, it's enjoyable, it's fun. But as you die, you earn basically experience just for staying alive for a second, for shooting a gun, for finding a secret, for killing an enemy. Every time you earn XP, you level up and you unlock more and more content. And that content tends to be, it gets more and more sophisticated, more advanced as you go along. It's a lot more giffable, in the late stages.
But it's still the standard 18 minutes, try to go on a suicide mission.
Yeah, and you never start the game more powerful. That time never changes, so it's 18 minutes.
How do the characters differ beyond looks?
Sure, so they have really unique playstyles. So they're all really inspired by kind of my late 80s icons, like Suzy Sue and Adam Ant and Grace Jones and stuff. So Sue, she's a character spelled like Suzy Sue. She's addicted to drugs and she has very low health. So she can also throw weapons. She's a really high-risk, high-reward player. She can be offered a buff that lets her, if she catches a weapon just before it drops from an enemy, or if it's a weapon that she just threw, she actually goes into the slowdown and she can just light things up.
So what you just said there, buffs are unique to the character?
Some are.
Okay,
Some are. So each character has a lot of different playstyles that might be more advantageous for them. And others, they're just a little bit more durable. Some are a lot less durable.
Can anyone use two guns?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
They can all carry 2 guns, but
Oh, okay.
everyone has that same ability. They all start with 2 weapons.
Okay, cool.
This guy's like the Ninja Gaiden guy. Like he's got the Knight Stiletto, and he's like.
Yeah. Well, he starts with a shotgun. He starts with a little bit more health. He can,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
he can drop to the ground really fast, and
Okay.
it's a really good mobility option. And if he might be offered a buff that lets him turn that like quick ground drop into do just a big area attack on the ground.
Okay.
But he has to use it from high enough. So the game really is all about combining really cool things with really nasty trade-offs.
Now, is there like like bosses for like every so often, or is there
Yeah.
bosses at all, or like?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So it's a procedural tower. It's built from 4 discrete zones. It's kind of like a layer cake or a parfait or a
Onion.
Neapolitan, an onion, an ogre.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's layered, and the layers make sense. So we see the arboretum a lot. You know, it's this living tower, but it's meant to support life.
Sure.
Like kind of like the giant buildings in Judge Dredd, kind of their own self-contained ecosystems. So there'll be a district warden at the top of each zone.
Okay.
Then there's also a secret zone underneath it where the dirty drug runoff water goes, and you can get addicted to drugs really easily down there. So,
Can you get into the secret zone at the bottom like easily, or is that something that you kind of have to work towards?
you unlock it eventually. You unlock it pretty soon, pretty early into when you get the game. And it's a hard path up the tower. It offers a shortcut, and there's like really sick things that happen down there, like really cool things that are accessible to you earlier in the game. But you're basically taking a harder path up the tower, and then you go into the Murdervator, which is a elevator. Hey, this is serious, Zeke.
It's a murder vader. I love it, man.
It's an elevator the size of a room, and you basically fight a boss while going up the tower very, very rapidly.
Oh, is this one of the wardens?
Yeah, that's Prophet 5. All the bosses
Okay.
are named after classic synthesizers.
Okay.
So that's the Prophet 5, near and dear to my heart.
Excellent.
This really seems like a passion project for you.
A bit.
Was this something that you've been like working really hard towards to make sure that it's just right because this is something that is so close to you?
Yeah, actually, I started it. I wanted to make an action roguelike, but I just didn't want to do a top-down one because everyone else does that. So make it a platformer, and I also wanted to make a music soundtrack for a game. So they were both really bad when they started, and they both kind of got better and kind of met in the middle, and they both kind of informed each other. And really, the soundtrack inspired the game and the aesthetic and the gameplay.
And you made it?
Yeah, with my band.
Wow, that's really cool.
Thanks.
Your band Tremor Low?
That's right.
Is that right?
Yep.
Dude, I've been listening to it. This style of music is making a huge comeback these days, and I'm loving all the different like synth
Synthwave. We're calling our style kind of synth punk.
synth punk. There you
'cause
go. I love all that stuff, like the Carpenter Brutes and all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
that's just blowing through the scene. And I'm listening to it as much as I can. It sounds dope.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's really fun too.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fun to work on.
Well, it makes you. I mean, it's like the next. It's like metal was back in the day. It's
Yeah.
like you just want to get in there.
It's exciting and new, and it's a way to like really explore new sound areas.
Now, talk to me about the co-op about this a little bit.
So this game, I took a really hard look at a lot of co-op in games. I wanted to do something really unique for co-op in this game. So there's a lot of stuff that can only happen in co-op. So if you die with your buddy, sometimes you can give them a transfusion. And if you're addicted to drugs and you give them a transfusion, then they get addicted to drugs.
That's so awesome.
So all the drugs in 1980 are kind of gasoline based, so they're combustible, and one of your little health bars will get inflamed. And if you take damage to that little health token, you'll take a bunch of damage and probably die from it. Another cool thing that happens in co-op is if your buddy dies and you don't have a transfusion kit, you can download them. You're just given an option to download them. What does that mean? If you come across a repairable drone later, you can actually upload them into the drone.